in the heart of a bustling Nigerian town, where the streets smelled of pepper soup, jollof rice, and roasted plantain. There was a famous food vendor known as Mama Teni. She was a big, round woman with dark, glistening skin, always wrapped in bright Ankara fabric. Her laugh was loud, her hands swift, and her food undeniably the best in town. From morning till night, men, women, and children gathered at her wooden stall, eager to taste her delicious meals. But what no one knew was that Mama Teni's success was not ordinary. She had a secret, a dark and dangerous one. Many years ago, when she was struggling to break out of poverty, an old woman visited her under the big baobab tree behind her house. The woman, with skin like cracked earth and eyes as red as burning embers, whispered,
"If you want to be the best, you must feed the spirits before you feed the people."
Desperate to escape poverty, Mama Teni agreed without hesitation. That night, she followed the old woman to the riverbank, where a clay pot sat half buried in the mud. The woman cut a small wound on Mama Teni's palm and let the blood drip into the pot. Then she whispered incantations, calling upon spirits older than time itself.
"From today, your food will be irresistible, but at night, you must never forget to offer your share to the spirits."
Mama Teni obeyed. Every evening, before she closed her stall, she prepared a special pot of food, spiced with ingredients no human should consume. She took it deep into the forest and left it under the ancient iroko tree. Her business flourished. She became the most famous food vendor in the town, feeding the rich and the poor alike. Even the king's palace sent servants to buy her meals. But as the years passed, greed consumed her. She began to cheat the spirits. Instead of giving them the best portions, she started leaving scraps and watered-down soup. That was when the torment began. At first, it was whispers in the wind, calling her name in the dead of night. Then, her dreams became nightmares. Visions of dark, shadowy figures circling her bed, their eyes glowing red. One night, she woke up to find deep claw marks on her walls, though her doors and windows were locked. Then, the spirits became bold. One day, as she stirred a pot of egusi soup, she heard a voice behind her, a deep, guttural voice that sent chills down her spine.
"You have betrayed us, Mama Teni."
She spun around, but no one was there. The firewood beneath her pot burst into blue flames, and the aroma of her cooking turned into the stench of rotten flesh, causing a lot of stares and risen eyebrows. Now, every night, the spirits came for her, whispering, scratching, calling her name. She could not sleep. She could not hide. And worst of all, she knew the spirits were only getting started. The torment grew worse. Mama Teni was no longer the lively, laughing woman people knew. Her once bright eyes were now sunken and rimmed with dark circles. She barely slept. She barely ate. The spirits would not let her. One night, as she sat on her mat, trembling, she heard it again. The deep, guttural voice that haunted her nights.
"You have stolen from us, Mama Teni. You will pay."
A cold wind rushed through her tiny room, making her lantern flicker. The shadows in the corners stretched and twisted like living things. Suddenly, her body stiffened. Something was holding her down. She tried to scream, but her lips wouldn't move. A terrible weight pressed down on her chest, and the room filled with the smell of decayed meat. Out of the darkness, long, bony fingers slithered toward her face. She shut her eyes, trembling, but she could feel the touch cold, like death itself. Then she heard a voice whisper in her ear,
"Give us what you owe, or we will take what we want."
The grip on her loosened, and she gasped for air, her heart pounding. Mama Teni knew what they wanted. The spirits did not want scraps. They wanted a proper offering. They wanted blood. She was warned by the old woman about the consequences of offending the spirits during the ritual. The next day, she struggled through her cooking, her hands shaking as she stirred the soup pots. She needed to find a way to appease them before it was too late. That night, she prepared a feast. A pot of steaming pounded yam with rich, thick ogbono soup, smoked fish, and the best goat meat she could find with some fruits. She carried the food deep into the forest, her breath quick and shallow. The iroko tree loomed ahead, its thick branches swaying without wind. She placed the food at the base of the tree, knelt, and whispered, "Forgive me. I was foolish. Take this offering and leave me in peace." The forest was silent. Not even the crickets chirped. Then a rustling sound came from the tree. The darkness around her thickened, swallowing the moonlight. A low, rumbling laugh echoed through the air.
This is not enough.
The wind picked up, whipping dust into her eyes. She turned to run, but her feet would not move. The shadows around her began to shift, forming the shapes of creatures too terrifying to describe. Mama Teni screamed, and in the village, those who were still awake swore they heard a cry, long, wailing, and filled with pure terror. The village dogs howled. The wind rattled the trees, but Mama Teni's scream faded into the thick silence of the forest. The spirits surrounded her now, shapeless shifting figures with hollow eyes and whispering voices. The ground beneath her feet felt like it was sinking, pulling her deeper into the darkness.
You betrayed us, Mama Teni. Now you must pay the price.
Her lips trembled. I brought food," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. The spirits laughed, a sound that sent chills crawling down her spine.
Food. Do you think we only hunger for food?
One of the shadows slithered forward, stretching unnaturally tall, its form flickering like a dying flame.
We want more. We want what is owed, flesh, blood, a soul.
Mama Teni's heart pounded. She knew what they were asking for. She had taken from them for years, feeding them scraps when they had given her wealth, power, success. Now they wanted a true offering, a human sacrifice. Her mind raced. Who could she give? Would she steal a child from the village? Could she take one of her apprentices, the young girls who helped her pound yam and serve food? Or would she find another way? "Please," she begged. "I will make it right. Give me time." The shadows hissed. The trees groaned as if the whole forest was alive and angry.
3 nights, Mama Teni, 3 nights. If you do not give us what we demand, we will take you instead.
Then, just as suddenly as they had come, the spirits vanished. Mama Teni ran panting. She was drenched in sweat, her body shaking. The night was silent again, but she knew the spirits were still watching. She had 3 nights. 3 nights to decide. Who would she sacrifice to save herself? Watch out for episode 2. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more.